You're with Clement Manyatela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the show. We're excited to have you with us here on 702. Thank you for tuning in, wherever you're listening from, on this 12th day of March, D-Day for the budget speech. And as we told you on Monday, and as you heard from both the DA and the ANC that we hosted on the show on Monday, there was no deal by Monday. And there's still no deal. My understanding is that negotiations continued up until last night and will continue this morning ahead of 2 p.m. But what's clear is that the finance minister, Enoch Kotongwana, will table the budget, whether there's a deal reached or not. And if there are disagreements, those would be attended to later. Amendments can be made at a later stage, which is what I said the last time the budget was postponed. I said the budget speech shouldn't have been postponed. There's nothing wrong with allowing the natural process of parliament to unfold with the tabling of the budget. It's okay for a budget to be tabled and debated and amended. Budgets don't get delivered and automatically passed. Yes, when the ANC enjoyed the majority, when the budget was tabled, it was virtually a done deal. But budgets are meant to be presented. They get debated. They're meant to be voted on. And if there are fundamental disagreements, there are opportunities to amend that budget. It's part of the parliamentary process. Postponing the budget causes confusion in the markets, which ultimately has an impact on our currency. It's an unnecessary confusion. Even the president, remember last month, the president in his weekly newsletter said postponing that budget was unfortunate because it gave rise to concern and uncertainty among South Africans, among investors and the financial markets who look to the budget for important signals about the state and direction of our economy. And I still say it, that wasn't a good decision. And it won't be a good decision today if the postponement happens yet again. In fact, a decision has been taken, from what I'm hearing, that the budget will be presented whether all GNU partners, especially the DA, gives it the green light or not. And then changes can be made later as negotiations continue. When I spoke to the ANC last night on Face the Nation, there was still no deal. This was last night after 8 p.m. The ANC's head of Economic Transformation Committee, Zuko Golimpi, basically told me the ANC will be okay with a tax adjustment or tax increase as long as it's not punitive.
The point that we categorically stand on is that it is counterintuitive to say you are working on dealing with unemployment, you are working on providing poor people with some lifeline, and then you are cancelling the SRD grant. Now that one is radically counterintuitive. You are better off making adjustments in your tax policy that are not punitive. And punitive means it must not be disproportionately higher than everyone else across the tax spectrum. That is the matter of tax law, not tax law. That is the matter of economics, broadly speaking. And that's the detail.
Yeah, so that's Zuko Golimbi. Apologies there for the quality of that sound. But basically what he's saying is we are okay with any tax adjustment as long as it's not punitive. And he says you can't say no corporate tax. You can't say no income tax. You can't just say no VAT increase because there has to be tax adjustment. Because otherwise, where are you going to get the additional revenue that is needed now? So the ANC is comfortable, right? And we have to cut through the jargon, because sometimes politicians speak in these words so that, they don't come clearly to say, yes, we are going to push for a VAT increase because that's the only option we have. What does punitive even mean? South Africans have said, no, we can't afford even the slightest increase in VAT. And yet the ANC says, well, we can still increase tax in some way without it being punitive. The DA, on the other hand, last night said they are not budging on tax increases. This was just before 9 p.m. There was still no deal, and they said we're not going to sign off on any budget that proposes a tax increase. If the ANC does go ahead, tomorrow the finance minister presents a budget that has an increase in VAT. What is your position as the DA? Whether it's a 0.5% increase or a 1% increase, is that a budget you vote for?
No, we will not vote for a VAT increase. So that has been made clear. To answer your question on whether it's a short-term or long-term solutions that we've put on the table, we said to them that there can be a 50% reduction in government advertising budgets. That can be done immediately. There can be a 33% reduction in traveling and catering expenditures. There can be a hiring freeze for all non-essential government positions. We must make this clear. The plan that the DA has put on the table, Clement, makes provision for even an increase in essential workers, policemen, nurses, doctors, teachers. We can have it all, but we must be more conservative when it comes to our spending. We must spend our money on the right things and make sure we don't waste it on the wrong things, as has unfortunately happened over the many years. We saw what the Zondo Commission said. We're talking of trillions of rands that this economy and this government and nation has lost due to poor management, and we can turn that around.
Yeah, that's the DA Federal Executive Member, Willie Orkamp. So, in a nutshell, no deal. What have they been doing over the last 3 weeks? There's still no deal. This morning, a few hours before budget has to be presented at 2 p.m. But budget will be presented either way. Parliament must accept and amend the fiscal framework before the end of March. So they still have, 2 weeks to go or so for them to continue with their negotiations. I just hope that the ANC looks at this moment and reflects on how it's mismanaged government finances over the last 30 years. And this is the price you pay. Unfortunately, you and I are the ones that are going to pay that price. There's been massive corruption in government over the years. Finances have been mismanaged. Public debt has been spiraling. The ANC has failed to grow the economy enough to create jobs. They failed to expand the revenue base. And here we are. They want you and I to pay the price for their mistakes. Or let's be blunt. They want taxpayers to pay for their failures. And that's tragic.